introduce the beautiful Brit Yallop to our amazing team over here in the West. Brit is actually a 27-year-old med student. So she is a woman after my own heart. She's from the Gold Coast. She's previously studied law. She spent 6 years at law school and then hopped over to the field of medicine. And Brit actually joined the Juice Plus company 3 years ago and hit the elite title of National Marketing Director just this year. And many of you would have heard her share her story at conference this year, which I know for me had me absolutely crying. So Brit, I just want to introduce you and perhaps for you to tell us the story of why and how you came to join the Juice Plus company.
Yeah, of course. Hi, everyone. It's wonderful to see you all here tonight and see so many new faces, and a big thank you to having me on here tonight. So look, as Tamara said, I've been doing this business for 3 years now. When I first started this business, I was incredibly time poor. I was still studying law full time. I was working full time in retail, managing a store, and I had no time on my hands. And this was, to be honest, something that I thought would be another project that was going to take up more of my time and just not something that I was ready to go all in with. And when it came across my radar, I thought maybe it might just pay a phone bill. Maybe it might just be, you know, an extra $100 here or there. I had no idea on what this opportunity could be, both for my finances, but also for my community. And, you know, 3 years in, I look at what I've built now and what we've got as a team, and it's the most inspiring, beautiful community that you get to be a part of. And I think that we have that gift. Every single one of you on the line has that gift. And so for me, I finished my law degree. So I went through 6 years of legal education. And I was building this business on the side. So I was telling Tamara the other day that my business literally looks like lunch breaks. It looked like 15 minutes. It looked like going to the toilet 101 times during my work shift. I think my boss must have thought I had a bladder condition. I was going back and forth all the time to send little client messages here and there. And I think it was a true testament to really realize that you can build this business in your stolen moments. To me, I never had the time to give it 3 to 4 hours a day. I just was so time poor. And so within, it was about a year, I was able to sort of take my work and my studies part-time from what I was able to build with this business and my team. But again, I just wasn't sure where it was going to take me at that stage. And then a really big significant event happened across my life and across my world, as many of you have probably heard my story on conference and my speech, but my partner actually passed away in a car accident, and we'd been together for 7 years, and we were engaged, and I had this incredible life mapped out with my partner, and all of a sudden it was gone. And this business, it held me together like glue. I had this incredible community around me where I hadn't even met half of the women that I worked with, yet I had meals being dropped off to my house. I had friends calling me. I had people jumping on calls to support me and cry with me and hug me and just be there for me. And I don't know about you guys, but I've always found that in a job, no one was ever that loving. No one was ever that caring or just cared for me just because I was a person in need. And so that community and that love was just incredible and phenomenal for me. And, you know, after going through something like that, it was a very strong reminder for me of how valuable time is. And we have no idea what's around the corner, like absolutely none of us do. And to me, it was a reminder that why would I want to spend a day in my life doing anything other than what I love? And to me, that this business gave me that time freedom to travel, to make the most of literally every single day that I have. And to me, that is so important, and that stayed with me. And so after I completed my law degree, I started working as a lawyer. I realized that it wasn't for me. It was the corporate jungle. It was competition. It wasn't the community that I once found in this Juice Plus community. And so I started to build this business full time, and it was a reminder again of what I wanted to achieve long term. And so, I decided that my passions were around helping people. And so I was very interested in jumping into medicine. I've always been very passionate about women's health in particular. Tamara has been a very big inspiration to me for a long time. And so this business was something I thought that I could turn into holistic health and to be able to help women with that. And that was going to go hand in hand with me studying medicine. And so, it's been 3 years now. It's been a long journey, and it's been, some really big setbacks. But I can honestly say that when I show up each day, I'm so inspired by the collaborative business that we have in our hands and the beautiful community that we're a part of. And that's why I'm here today. And that's why I'm here at National Marketing Director, because of the beautiful team that I've built.
That's amazing, Brit. And, when we all did hear your story, like we'd all heard of Brit, this is an amazing woman who recruited 50 customers in a month. And, she's obviously a powerhouse. But I think when we heard your really vulnerable story around losing your partner and, losing someone at any time in life is really challenging, but someone who is so young and had so much time ahead of him, and you guys together so much time ahead of you, you really could have gone one of two ways, couldn't you? You really could have just completely crawled into a corner and just sat there and licked your wounds and done nothing. But you reached deep inside of yourself, Brit, and you harnessed what I call a superpower within yourself to pick yourself up and brush yourself off and continue moving. Can you talk a little bit about harnessing, like what that superpower is for you and how you harnessed it to keep moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's so easy to put people on pedestals. And, lots of people do that to me. They think I've had this tragedy and I've managed to overcome it and build something quite successful. But I just want to take myself right off that pedestal here and share with you guys that everyone has a tragedy that'll break your heart. Everyone has something that they're going through that's really difficult. We all suffer. It's part of life. But I think it's what you do in that suffering that is your test of character. And I've always asked myself, what am I made of when the times are tough? And my why and my vision is stronger than that pain. And so when I'm having days where I'm consumed by my grief, and trust me, I have them every day, it happens, but I know that if I let that consume me, I'm taking away the dreams of my team. I'm taking away the health of my clients. I'm taking away the beautiful presence that I know I can give and serve the world if I just delve into my own personal tragedy, because we all have them. So I guess my superpower is it's trying to, change around the way you see tragedy and you see your tough times. Because as I said, it could be that you've got the kids that you've got to take care of. You've got your 9 to 5, you've got your commitments in life that you're struggling to balance with this business. But it's, it's when you get home from work and you want to go and veg out and sit on the couch and watch Netflix. It's in that moment where you make that decision and flick that switch and say, who am I going to help instead? And to me, it's reverting back to your why. So again, it's for me, time is so valuable. So I know that I need to build a business to make sure I've got more time. So to me, it's that flicking that switch of making sure that your negativity or your doubt turns into positivity and motivation. Because I truly believe that you cannot get motivation unless you step into action first. Action will bring you motivation. So to me, it's showing up on the days that it's tough. It's showing up when the going gets tough. And it's making sure that you're putting how you can serve other people as a priority. And that gives me so much joy, and that helps me get out of that funk. And so that hard work, it really does, it pays off, and it makes you feel good as well. It's like a endorphin release or something.
Yeah, Brit, that's so true. I would call that superpower, I would call that grit. What would you call it?
Yeah, look, I think grit and perseverance are definitely two big things. It's making sure that becomes like the way you operate in life. It's not just in business, it's showing up. It's showing up. Who do you want to be as a partner, as a mother, as a friend, as a, whoever it is? You've got to make sure that it's not just your own interests that you're protecting. It's how you can help other people.
Yeah, that's exactly true. So delving into yourself and harnessing that grit, do you think that's inherent, or do you think that is something that you can learn? Because a lot of people would be sitting on here tonight going, yeah, but that's just Brit. She's done 6 years of law school and now she's launched herself into medicine. That's inherent in her. But do you think that's a skill that you can learn, a superpower you can learn?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Everyone has it in them. I always say to my team all the time, you have what it takes to build $1 million business. Absolutely. Every single person does. I think that a lot of people come with a personality trait, maybe like a type A red personality where they're very big go-getters. But I truly think that grit is just a muscle. You've just got to build that muscle. I think it's self-belief. It's belief in the industry, the product. It's belief in your why, all of those things that can be built. And grit just comes from being inspired by that. I truly believe that. And if you have a big enough why, you're going to show up and do the hard work to get yourself there. So I think if you haven't got a big enough goal, you're not going to have the grit and the determination to achieve it. So dream big, times that by 10. What does that look like for you coming into 2021? What vision do you have? And what would life look like if you double that? What would that mean for your family? What would that mean for your career? What would that mean for how many people you can help? Get crystal clear on that why, and the grit will come. The grit is something that will just continue to grow when you've got that strength.
Yeah, that is so true. When you want something bad enough and the vision is so clear, you'll do anything to achieve that vision.
Absolutely.
So 2020 for you has been about really upping the ante. I think we heard was it June or July, where you recruited 50 customers. And can I just point out to everybody that this is not Brit brand new in the business and so has a huge warm market. She's probably by this time already depleted most of that. So can you talk to us about, number one, what was your pivotal point to go, I've just got to take this to the next level? What made you step it up? And secondly, what did you do? How did you do it?
Yeah, look, it's a great question because a few people have asked me this. And I think what moment it sort of came down to was that I knew that the goals and the vision I had, I was playing it small. I was not playing at a level that I could achieve these goals. And I knew that if I wanted my team to hit their goals and to work hard for their vision, I had to go first. I was the leader that had to go first. So to me, it was this moment where I thought, I can't just be doing these small little jumps each month. I can't just be, plodding along and just hoping a goal would come about. I had to get really, really crystal clear on a strategy and how I was going to break that down month to month, week to week, and day by day. And so for me, I set myself a ridiculous goal. I said, I'm going to hit 50 new clients. Actually, I said 30 originally, then I changed it to 50. And my motivation to that was I thought, if I can do that, I'm going to figure out what works, what doesn't work, and I'm going to give myself a test run for that month. Once I figure out what doesn't work, I'm going to eliminate that for the next month, and then I'm going to teach my team on what does work so I can have that duplication. And so 2 weeks into the first month, I hit 30 customers, and I said, what's the point in having a glass ceiling? We don't need any glass ceilings. That's not what we're made of. I'm going to go to 50. So I got to 50 and I got to 52 and I thought, I'm not ending on 52. I've got to get to 60. So I got to 60 by the end of the month. And then I told myself the next month, I've got to be able to maintain that. So I did 3 solid months. I did 60, then 50, and then 54 the following month. So I did those 3 months. I can honestly say that there's probably 98 to 99% of my business is cold market, both team and clients. And I don't share that with you guys to boast. The only reason I share that with you is because that Tamara's right, you run out of warm market. It's just about how you can touch other people's lives, how you can connect with more people. And so in order for me to get there, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I had so many conversations. I had about 800 conversations in a month. So that's how many conversations I was having. But bear in mind, I was only spending about 2 to 3 hours at this point on my business growth for customers a day. So I was making sure that I was adding new people constantly on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, all of my social media platforms, I was adding people to. Now, I don't have a big following. I'm not a massive influencer or anything like that. I just share every day. I share what I do. I share making my smoothies, going to the beach. I share my life. And I truly think that I wouldn't want to work with or coach anyone that doesn't resonate with the way that I live my life. And I think that you cannot attract everyone. You can just attract your avatar client and team member. And that's the mindset that I had. And so I went to town on Instagram. I went to town on all the hashtags that I thought were relevant to me, all the cafes that I like to go to, the gym that I like to go to, the beach that I like to go to. everything that was attractive to me, that was where I was going to find my clients and my team members. So I went to town on conversations. I added all these people. I was adding lots and lots of people a day. I was simply community managing them. So I was commenting on their photos. I was liking probably 3 to 4 of their Instagram photos, being like a top-notch stalker, and building relationships. And then, you know, they would respond, and I would never, like, I don't know about you guys, I'm sure we're all taught this throughout every team in Juice Plus, that you don't want to be sleazy or salesy. You would never come across me sending a message purely based on Juice Plus or our program straight out. I will always build a relationship first. So for me, it was about visualizing a funnel and going down really, really slowly into this peak. And it was like starting wide. It was like, hey, how are you? I saw your profile. Oh my gosh, I love that cafe that you just went to. What did you end up getting for brekkie? My favorite meal is this. Building conversation. And then you're asking them questions that to find the pain. So if it's asking someone to join the business, you're asking them, what do you do for work? Or what are you passionate about? A lot of the time people say their family, their friends, holidays, those sorts of things. And it's like, amazing. Do you get to go on holidays much each year? And a lot of the time they say, oh yeah, I do. Like, you know, I've got my 4 weeks of leave that I take a year, but you know, it's tough to get time off work. There's your pain. Do the same thing for customers. If you're talking to them about how amazing their journey is at the moment with their transformation challenge. Amazing, you look incredible. What are you doing at the moment? They'll tell you, and you can say, oh, that's so cool. I'm actually working with an amazing product and program myself. I've actually had this incredible journey, and you share your journey. You're talking about finding the pain. And that's what my 800 conversations were. I had so many no's. I had so many setbacks. I had so many days where I just literally cracked it, wanted to throw my laptop out the window and said, this is too hard. But then I told myself, who am I robbing of this experience if I crack it and close my laptop and walk away? And so as much as I'm my own biggest competitor with myself, I always told myself, well, if I don't have that conversation, that person isn't going to be able to access our incredible products, and their children aren't going to be able to have our chewables. Or that mama isn't going to be able to do our business. She's going to have to put her kids back in daycare. And to me, those reasons were more important than my reasons why not. So that's what I did. Literally month to month, I just got crystal clear on that. And I knew that I needed to have about 800 conversations in order to get 50 customers.
That's incredible. So I just have to summarize this in 2 to 3 hours in your day. And is that 2 to 3 hours kind of broken up, or is that in like, don't bug me, I'm in my 2 to 3 hours of you know, power?
No. So look, I probably did hour intervals, sometimes half an hour intervals throughout my day. I kind of just spread it around my calls throughout my scheduled day. So if I had team members I was speaking to, or if I was, you know, just going to the beach or a swim, I'd break it up. I'd probably go insane if I was having that amount of conversations in a 3-hour block. But knock yourselves out, guys, if you want to try that.
So then you would be in that 2 to 3 hours, snatches of time. You are building on your tribe. So you're going into groups, you're connecting with people that are kind of like-minded, you're friending them, whether you're on Facebook or on Insta, you're following them, hoping they'll follow you back. And then you're making some sort of connection, whether it be the cafe, the beach, the, you know, the wellness, the mama, whatever.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So I definitely say Instagram was probably my bigger platform. I found that you get a bit more reach with your hashtags, but you know, you can use any platform. It's just conversation building at the end of the day.
Yeah. And then you're starting the conversation. So the big question I have for you, Brit, is when you're starting conversations with someone you don't know very well, you don't know a lot about them, how many interactions are you having before you get to the point where you're sharing product and or business?
I think yeah, like it's probably different per person. Like there's some conversations, you know, that you might be having for a year, you know, that they still might be watching you from afar. Like I never discount anyone, because I know that you never know when they might come back and be wanting your help. But the scripts that I follow for myself, I try to sort of break it down to about 4 to 5 messages to and from before I start bringing up the business or the product or program. But with clients, I set myself a goal of, if I have a conversation that day, I close them that day.
Oh, that's amazing. And Jessie Phillips asked, how do you keep track of all of this?
So do you guys have something like a 30-day grid that you work with? Yep, cool. That's all I did. So I printed out a 30-day grid. I edited it because I needed to make the blocks a lot bigger than like an A4 bit of paper. And I color coded. Like, I'm being, someone that's gone through uni, I'm big on my color coding and tabbing of everything. So I was very much into that. Like, someone would get a color if they got a link sent, someone would get another color if they just got up to the conversation stage. I would get crystal clear on what that looked like. I was always like big on time blocking. So I use my iCal on my computer for when I've got my white space and when I'm online. I'm very big on, if I'm online for half an hour, I'm in the zone, no one's distracting me, I'm doing the work, because when I turn off, I'm completely off as well. So I've got no notifications going. I'm very big on boundaries in that sense. But I think that when you're in the zone and when you're that motivated, guys, like, you will be so inspired to reach your goals that you won't feel overwhelmed. You'll just feel friggin' excited.
And Jessie Watkins, all the way from Melbourne, so it's late over there. Jess has asked, did you ever feel yourself being drained by all these conversations? I mean, you'd obviously have dozens of conversations going on at the same time. And how would you deal with that?
Yeah, you definitely feel drained. Like, setting yourself a goal like that and constantly feeling like you're pushing. I could never do it permanently. Like, I've gone straight back down to sort of doing like 15 to 20 clients now that I haven't got as big of a goal. So you've just got to remind yourself it's not permanent. If you're going for a goal to build your customer base, it's a 30-day time frame. So if you can, like a 90-day blitz, Jessica, that's right. It's exactly it. So it's a short amount of time to squeeze out a lot of action, and then you go into your holiday mode from there. So I knew when my holiday time was going to be at the end of the year. So my pushing summer sort of stage was like those 3 months, because I knew, as we know in this business, right, what you do now pays you for another 3 months in your organization. So yes, it's draining, but once again, I just came back to my why and who I could help. And you kind of get like on a little bit of a high. Like, as soon as I processed an order, I was like, yes, another person I'm helping. Someone joined the team. I'm like, yes, another life I'm going to change. So it was kind of, I just reminded myself of what I was achieving as I was going. And you'll find that as you start to share that, like every time I got a customer or a team member, I'd post on my story saying, congratulations on making a change for your health. Can't wait to work with you over the next 16 weeks. And my team were watching me and they were like, Brit, what are you doing? What are you doing to get this amount of customers? So I was jumping on calls with them, getting them excited. And then all of a sudden, you've not only got this customer base growing, you've got your team in action. And we all know when you're doing it together, it becomes so much more fun. So we were doing Zoom calls where we were hustling for half an hour together, like, all 90 of us all on a call. And it was just like this amazing, fun thing. So you turn that overwhelm and that sort of, I guess, exhaustion that you could sense it would be to excitement very, very quickly when you're going for a goal like that.
Yeah, I agree. There's nothing better than like a half hour, an hour hustle with each other.
Fun then with the girls.
Ask questions and, what would I say to this or that? So, and I love what you've touched on here is that you've then created that momentum with your team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that this business becomes more fun when you do it with your friends and you do it with your, your team members. And I think, the key to moving through the compensation plan, from what I've learned in Juice Plus, is that it's about duplication. So it's all good and well me learning something, but unless I can teach it and see my team do the same thing, I was never going to have a growing business. So it's all about like finding a strategy that works for you and that you can teach down the line.
Absolutely, because then you're going to teach them to teach. And once you've taught someone to teach, then that's where the true time leveraging comes in this business. Yeah. I love this. This is so good, Brit. Olivia has asked a question. Do you only ever talk to people that look like your avatar? If they seem not to have the same interests as you, do not bother. Do you move on?
I think when you're going for such a big goal like that, Olivia, I think time is limited, to be completely honest with you. So if someone comes across, like if you come across someone's feed and you think, they're not your avatar, they don't seem to share the same interests as you, or they don't seem to be on the same journey as you, I think maybe down the track that can be a conversation. But for sort of when you're trying to turn over things quite quickly, I generally get crystal clear on my avatar, because I don't think you can attract everyone. I think if you start posting and sharing things and talking to everyone, you attract no one, because you're not being specific enough. So for me, I knew that, you know, I'm not a mum. So for me, attracting mums was quite hard because I would talk about, you know, time freedom and that kind of stuff. And everyone would think, Brit, you've got no idea, you've got no kids. So for me, it was attracting, you know, 9 to 5 workers, people that come from an academic background. And so for me, it was like, all right, I need to make sure that I'm posting when they're available rather than when mums are available. So it's really important to find your avatar. Otherwise, you're not specific enough to attract your tribe, and your vibe attracts your tribe.
Yeah, and so you would go out specifically looking to connect with people in different groups that are of similar interest to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So they would share the same passion, same interest. When it came to clients, I guess that's a little bit more different. To be honest with you, for clients, I got really clear on what I was passionate about and how we could help. So we have a program that we work with alongside Juice Plus, and that's quite big on women's health and yoga and meditation. So it was people that I could help in that field. That was, you know, really quite passionate of mine. But again, find your own thing, like whether it's you know, all sorts of things that Juice Plus helps with. Get clear on what that is for you and find people that are struggling with that, because there's so many. And you know what? Your hashtags on Instagram are your best friend for that.
And how do you come across those hashtags, Brit?
I literally just brainstorm them. So I thought of the reasons why I wanted to help people. And this sounds ridiculous, but you find your reasons and those key words of what you're passionate about. Jump onto a dictionary online and look at a thesaurus, and you'll find 101 different words for the one word that is similar to that. So if, like intermittent fasting, or, you know, something that you're passionate about, holistic health, if you search that, there's so many words that come up that are similar to that. Start searching on your hashtags. You guys can follow hashtags on Instagram, and you get all of the beautiful pictures and stories of people that have mentioned that hashtag. Then I just go onto them, love on them, connect with them, and then you found all your avatar just there.
Beautiful. I love it. One thing that I just want to touch on with you is the fact that you and I were talking the other day, and, you know, I pointed out the fact that you're under Shani Peach, and then under her is Lauren King, and then under her is Jess Strauss. Yep. And you're actually under Jess Strauss, but there was someone in the middle there who, unfortunately for them, have left the business before they hit their success with you. But you pointed out to me that you actually broke away as your own entity at senior partner. Now, that's not something that we would normally advocate. We would normally say, hey, stick by your leadership, follow their tried and proven system, you know, walk in the pathway that they have walked before you. But you chose to kind of walk your own path. Can you talk to that, Brit?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, you know, before I start, I think it's really important to say here that there's no need to reinvent the wheel in this business. Like, your leaders have gone before you, and they've shared an incredible path for you to follow based on their experience of learning what does work and what doesn't. And I come from an incredible leadership team where, you know, Shani and Lauren and Jess are my best friends. Like, I love them. I live right near them on the Gold Coast. But for me, I knew in this business, just my own personality, I needed to have my own tribe and my own vision and my own team and my own brand in order for this to be successful. And the team that I built obviously are very similar to me, because we attract our own tribe, right? So my team also wanted to do the same thing. So from such a young point, from sort of senior partner level, we were looking at branching off and making our own brand. So I sort of made the decision to get a graphic designer and put a label together and start to create our own sort of website and web pages and what that looked like for our community. We started to catch up for more breakfast dates, for lunches, hire a photographer to take some photos here and there to, you know, share more about our girl gang. And we went off on our own. And I must admit, you know, it's a bit daunting. It's scary. At that point, I didn't know all the answers. I had so many questions in Juice Plus still that, you know, Crystal from head office had to deal with a phone call from me nearly every day, the poor thing. But, you know, there's so many things that you can leverage off from head office as well. And I think you guys you got to just be true to you. And the beauty of this business is you don't have a boss. You don't have somebody else that you have to be accountable to. This is your business. This is whatever you want to create it to be. So if you're feeling a pull to have this as something different to your upline, that's okay. Your upline isn't your boss. You're your own CEO of your own dream, of your own destiny, and of your own business. So you can do absolutely anything you want in this business. So for me, it was branching off and building my own tribe. And I can honestly say the moment that I did that, my business absolutely blossomed. And, you know, today I promoted a new SSC in my team, and she did this massive speech just saying how incredible the team has been since going off on their own. So I agree, like, it's not something that we encourage when you've got a beautiful leadership team already there to show you the way, but it doesn't mean you have to separate from your upline. You can still have a beautiful mentor relationship with your upline, but still have your own brand.
Yeah, I love that. And, you know, I really sat down and thought about that after you and I got off the call the other day, that we are all our own independent business people. So we've got this amazing tried and proven system, which costs us barely anything to be able to access. We in Australia have incredible head office support, and we've got great support and mentorship from our upline. But why not? Why not create something that is going to be you, so that you can attract the people that you want on your executive board? And so stepping out into that independence and that strength is also something that has been a superpower for you.
Yeah, thank you. It's not without scary things, but I've always sort of said to myself, you know, feel the fear and do it anyway, because like what's on the edge of your comfort zone is the most exciting thing, I reckon.
Exactly. You're only going to grow, aren't you, when you step into those places that you've never been before.
Yep, absolutely.
It's great. Oh, this is so good, Brit. Keep the questions coming, everybody, because they're fantastic. So in harnessing that grit and that perseverance, I know I've asked this before, but I just want to ask you again, how do you teach that?
I think that you've got to go first. I think that if you guys have a goal and you guys are wanting to create something and you're wanting your team to create it, you can never expect your team to do it before you do it. And I have the same philosophy. If there's anything that we're wanting to achieve as a team, I know that I need to prove that it's possible and then show what works to the team. At the start of every month, I sit down with my majority of my frontline and I ask them what they're wanting to achieve over the next 30 days. I get really clear on what that looks like for them, because there's no point me having a bigger goal for them than they have for themselves, because I'm not a big fan of pulling people through the mud. I don't believe in that. I think that, as I've said to you guys, everyone has their own business, and I'm very conscious of not micromanaging. I don't want to come across that way as a leader. So I get clear on what their goals are and I reverse engineer it for them. So I break it down. I say, okay, so what are you wanting to achieve? I get them to look at it not from a monetary level. So it could be that they want to go on a holiday, they want to buy a new car, maybe they want to make a house repayment, whatever it is that they want to achieve for the month. Then I ask them, what does that look like for you financially? What do you need to be earning from your Juice Plus business this month for you to reach that? They'll give me an amount. So I'll divide that by 4 so I can work out what they need to be making per week. And then I divide that into premium capsules, because that's the average order that we get, right? So I work out how many of those do they need to be bringing on per week to reach their goals. We break it down. We then break it into how many team do you need to bring on and how many customers do you need to help. And then they know exactly what they're dealing with week by week, and that avoids overwhelm. So I never get to a stage like end of month today. I've had a lot on my plate, but it's never been like a big, massive push, because the team have done the work. They've done it every single week leading up into end of month. So there's no stress. So I think that grit and that perseverance and that like drive to make it happen begins on those first few days of the month, when you're like the dream keeper for them. You're asking them what they want to achieve. And then you're also asking their permission for you to be able to step in week by week if they're not achieving that, and asking them if their goals are still important to them. And that's what I do. I jump in it when it gets to day 7 of the first week. I'm like, hey, Bianca, I know that you said that this was your goal for the week ahead. How's that going? How is that looking for you? And if it's not quite where it wants to be, I'm like, that's okay. We can totally smash it over the next week. What do we need to do to get you there? And I map it out week by week. I think as soon as you let it go past that stage, it goes into overwhelm, and that grit turns into fear, and the fear turns into lack of motivation. So I think motivation from the get-go, getting clear on goals and breaking it down like that, is really, really important. And I've actually got a tracker sheet that I made for my team to break into weekly goals. So Get creative, guys. Get onto Canva and make it look pretty. People are inspired by that.
That's awesome. You mentioned too the other day, I thought this is quite funny, that you have a lot of tough love with your team. What is that tough? I mean, I think I saw a hint of it just then, but yeah, what is that tough love from you?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I'm definitely a nurturing soul. Like I always want to help people wherever I can, but I'm very big on, calling people out when they've got their goals, but they've got their BS excuses that are becoming bigger than their goals. And as I said, I asked their permission at the start of the month. Do I have permission to call you on this BS if I can help you with reaching your goals? And I don't have anyone that turns around and says no. Everyone's like, yeah, I can't wait to reach these goals. Like, call me on it. I want to know what I can do, And so I'm big on that. Like, I will always offer my time. I will always offer my support, and I will always be there for each and every one of them, but only if they're willing to show up for themselves. So I won't book a call in with them if they don't tell me, okay, this is what I'm wanting to achieve from this call. This is what I'm hoping I will get from this call. And this is the action I'm going to take from this call. So I'm aware that I will give that time to them, but my time is valuable. And I fully respect that my time is valuable, and that I know that they have to do the work if they're wanting my time as well. So I think from a leadership perspective, it's that balance of nurture versus tough love when you need to. I promise I'm not, Cruella de Vil and horrible to them. I love my team more than anything, but it's just a matter of, finding that balance.
Yeah, that's right. Kim's asked a great question. Do you actually do that with your downline, not just your frontline? Do you ever jump over people?
Look, I only do it with my frontline just due to the size of my team. I would be jumping on calls left, right, and center if I was doing it with absolutely everyone. But what I do is when I set up those calls with my frontline team, they know to do the same thing for their team. So we know that like anyone that's sort of an SC or even like a senior partner that's going into SC, they've all got team that they're working with, and they're the dream keepers. So my leaders, I call them my dream keepers. They're jumping online and they're speaking to their team about how they can reach their goals. So again, it's just a process of duplication. So it's not just orders and team that you're duplicating on, it's leadership skills that you're duplicating as well for your business. And I always raise them up, like I always do on my team trainings. I'll interview people that have just hit senior partner. Anyone that's showing amazing skill and amazing determination, I reward that behavior and make them feel super special. But I definitely am strategic with how my time is spent and how I can duplicate that down the line by them stepping into leadership and offering those calls.
Yeah, unreal. Jessie's asked a really simple question. How many calls would you book in an average day? I know Jess has a lot to juggle, so I know she's looking for a simple answer.
Look, it just depends on the day. For me, at this stage, like, my team probably might take up 2 to 3 calls in my day, and I might have maybe 1 or 2 more if I've got potential team on follow-up calls. But that's probably a busy day for me. On a quieter day, it might just be 1 or 2. So it's doable around your schedule, Jess. Like if you've got, work full time, you can do it beforehand or do it when you get home or do it on a lunch break. As I said, I used to sit out in like the food court at my retail job on follow-up calls. That's that's what life used to look like for me. So it's definitely doable around your busy life.
Yeah, I love that. If there's any more last questions, please pop them into the chat. So I just want to try and wrap this up, Brit. You've talked to us about the importance of creating vision, creating a vision board, and a vision so big that the pain of not achieving that vision really drives that grit and perseverance. You've talked about the importance of leading in action in order to expect team to follow you and create that momentum. And you've talked about the duplication of that. We did briefly talk on reaching into that superpower within you and how to teach that as well. If I was to sort of choose one thing of all of that, like, there's 38 odd people on this call tonight. And they're all going to get off this call and they're all going to have put you up on the pedestal and themselves in the pit, because that's what we do. But you've taught us some amazing social media skills here as well, and how to really harness those massive numbers in order to get those clients in. If there was one thing that you could encourage each person to go away from right now when they press end on this call and go and step into action for, what do you think it would be?
I honestly think, guys, that everyone off this call, when they finish, they should ask themselves the question of, what are you wanting to achieve between now and the end of this year? What does that mean for your life? What does that mean for your family? What does that mean for your 2021 business, for your life in 2021? And make sure that that vision is doubled. And the reason why I say that is because you need to have your vision bigger than your fear and your doubt and your moments of insecurity and your moments of inaction. And that's going to be the motivational tool that's going to get you into action when you go into those moments. Because what you guys have to remember, that we have the honeypot. We have the most incredible business opportunity in our hands, and everybody else that we connect with, we have the ability to change lives. We have one of the most successful industries in the world. We, as an industry, we have so many successful people that come from this, and that comes from big whys. So ask yourself, what do you want to achieve in the next month? What do you want to achieve in 2021? Not a monetary amount. What does it look like for your life? And then we'll work backwards to make it weekly by week goals to help you reach that vision.
And so before you guys go and make your cup of tea, before you go and cook your dinner, before you go and, I don't know, sit down in front of Netflix, I want you guys to seriously use this 45 minutes, treat this 45 minutes you've had with Brit preciously, and go and get into this action step. So Brit's asked you guys to go and sit down and ask, what is it that you want to achieve by the end of this year? And then what that looks like as a monetary goal. And then what do you reckon, break it up into how many premium customers or how many team that might need? So some people might find that a little bit, oh, I don't know how to do that. What would you recommend if they don't know how to do that?
So if you don't know how to do that, guys, jump onto the compensation plan and have a look at that diagram that literally breaks down what level you're at and how much you're earning per premium capsule client that you bring on. That way you can work it out. So if you're SC and above, it's 126. I can't remember the exact values for the levels before that, but get clear on what that looks like financially, and then work out how you're going to divide that into team or how you're going to divide that into customers. I know it sounds like it's quite tedious and there's lots of numbers there, but I'm not a numbers person. I hate numbers. It's like my worst part of medicine, Tamara. I don't know how you do it. I struggle with it. But I have to stay clear on these numbers so I don't get overwhelmed. And I think if you're not a numbers person, you need to do this activity. This is going to be a lifesaver for you. And I guarantee you, you're going to celebrate New Year's Eve in so much happiness and excitement, because you're not going to be hustling. You've done your hustle at the end of each week to reach your goals. It's already done.
Yeah, I love that. That's brilliant. So guys, utilize this time tonight. Thank you, Kim, for dropping it into the chat where you can go and find what you want to generate depending on your level. And go and do this action point. Don't walk away from this call and not get into action. Oh, Brit, I have absolutely loved having you on tonight. I know everybody else has just been absolutely gobsmacked, but you've made it so simple for everybody and you've given us some absolute gems. So just from the bottom of my heart to yours, I just want to say we are so blessed to have you in our company and so blessed and grateful for you to just share as openly as you have tonight. I'm really humbled by that. I would just love everybody just to open up their lines and say just a massive thank you to Brit and to everybody in the last hours that we have for November. Go hard, get your vision clear and get your plan in place for December. And we can't wait to see who has rocked our Dash for Cash challenge for November. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much, Brit. Appreciate it.